Joni? Joni?
Yes?
It's me, Tom. There's a group of us here and more in the cafeteria. We're just on a UV scan and there's no problem.
Oh, thank God.
Amen. Now, the point is, there's a lot of healthy people being kept in here by bureaucratic rules written long ago and far away.
Mr. Schmidt, you're not going to ask me to open up the building?
Not P4. No, I understand. It's a wipeout in there.
I can't do it. You'll have to speak to Major Connolly.
Well, to hell with Connolly. Joni, look, you don't want to push the button? Fine. Fine. Just tell me the code. You can testify against me at my trial.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not going to give you the gate sequence until I have outside authorization.
Let me in, Joni. You can say I overpowered you, because that is exactly what's going to happen.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Civic Podcast. This is the last one, and I'm not sure if it'll be released in July, truth be told. But at the very beginning of August, at the latest, of the Do I Look Infected July shows. I am one of your hosts, Gary Hill, and with me tonight, and that's just fine with me, is the lovely Iris. How you doing?
Hello. How y'all doing?
Oh, doing just dandy. Sweating away in my work closet here,
Oh,
That's
my
where
God.
I record in the closet, people,
Hey,
So-
you do what you got to do, right?
Yup. It's good shit. But yeah, we'll start the show the same way we always start the show, and I'll ask Iris what she been watching lately.
Well, I just got done watching a movie. It was so great that I forgot what it was called. Basically, the gist of it's on Prime. The gist of it is that this kid records his mom walking out the door. The mom and dad had a fight. And then there's like lights flashing in and, kind of like what happens when there's a UFO around. His dad is just positive that she got abducted because he was missing 2 hours of his time. He doesn't know what was happening for those 2 hours. So he thinks that they put him and his son back, but they didn't give back the mom. So this kid has been living with, this dad for so long that he's going around trying to prove that it's just the missing memory or that amnesia is because you don't want to deal with a hard subject. But it ends up that there are aliens and he gets abducted and all this other crap. But yeah, it was that memorable that I cannot remember the name of the damn film.
The memory has been abducted from Iris's mind. See,
Yes, the memory. See, I lost time. I lost an hour and a half, Gary.
It
Beyond
sounds
the
like
Sky.
Beyond the Sky. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to watch, one of those weird abduction movies, it's half storytelling, half, when they're filming the video, what was that called? It's like first person video. Oh my God, what are those movies called? I hate them so bad.
Found footage?
Yes, found footage. So it's half real, storytelling and half found footage. But not too much of a found footage that I was like, oh fuck this movie. But I eventually did say fuck this movie. But I have been watching a lot of TV, and we have been watching on Netflix. It's like Murder in Middletown Beach. That is really good. It's about this kid who his mom was found killed in the yard, and he's trying to figure out who did the murder because the police never did find out because it's like they really didn't even try. And he's doing some investigating, and fingers get pointed in really interesting, directions like family members. Let's see, there's that. And then I've been watching Kindred Spirit, because I love Amy Bruni. And I've been listening to her newest podcast. So I started watching Kindred Spirit. But besides that, that's been me.
Oh, me, I've been watching some animated stuff and some other stuff. I didn't talk about this last show, but I watched Nashville for the first time, the Robert Altman film. And that was delightful and sad at the end. And if you don't know, this takes place in the 70s in Nashville during like this 5-day stretch where all these Nashville musicians come to town doing a big festival. And Henry Gibson's in the movie, Shelley Duvall's in the movie,
Ooh,
Ronnie
cool.
Blakely's in the movie, Karen Black's in the movie. Keith Carradine's in the movie. And the cool
Damn.
thing about cool thing about this movie is that they all sing songs in the movie, but most of the songs, if not all the songs, are written and composed. Written and sung and composed by the people that are singing them. So
No way.
when Ronnie Blakely's singing the songs, and she sings beautiful songs in the movie, she wrote those songs, and I think that adds a little flavor to the movie and to the characters within. And I've never seen it before. It's like 2.5 hours, so you gotta strap in for this one. But I think it's really satisfying if you're a music fan and you're a fan of these people. And it gets real sad at the end. I don't want to tell you what happens, but my soul was crushed properly.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was real sad.
It's one of those wrist slashers.
Yeah. not that bad, but still, something pretty bad happens to one of the people in the movie that's been pretty sickly throughout the movie. That's not fair, but it happens. You get the great end credits where you find out that everybody that was singing the songs wrote the songs and performed the song themselves, and
That's pretty awesome.
They're treasures for that reason. Henry Gibson wears like a LeMay like Elvis jumpsuit in this movie for no reason, but he's like a midget, and it's like that's fine. He's supposed to be like the George Jones. They're all like a type in this movie. Like the ones he's like the George Jones type. Whatham's like Ronnie Blakely's like the June Carter type. She sings in that sort of way.
Oh, nice.
And it's a good film. If you've never seen it before, I got it for a $5 off the digital, and it was worth every penny, I think.
And it's called Nashville.
Called Nashville, yeah. It's a Robert Altman movie.
Look that up, man.
I watched Judge Dredd, the Stallone one, which I think is the superior Judge Dredd film for me because it's just so fucking campy, and I hate those people that say just because the Carl Urban one came out and it is good. It is good. But you know what? They're two different films. It's okay to like both. And this one, you get some Stallone. I don't know who I love more, Stallone or Armando Sante, because they're about at the same level, which what makes it so good that they're about the same level.
Mm-hmm. But see, for me, Armando Sante is a lot easier on the eyes than Stallone.
Well, yeah. There's that, especially this movie. He's built in this movie, and just when he gets that big old throaty, when Stallone goes there, like, why did you judge me? He goes, it was the law. He goes, law. It was the law. Yeah, real deep law. Like that's so awesome. I love the movie to death, and people dump on it. Like, come on, man, Jürgen Prochnow and Max von Sydow are in this movie, and you guys shouldn't shit on it because it's a little silly in parts.
That's right. And you wouldn't have the other movie if you didn't have this one.
Yeah, I mean, because what the hell is this? Something 2000 AD, I think it's called, the original where Dredd came from. It's a British thing, but it's one of those comic books that popped up that unless you were like deep into the comic books, you wouldn't know what the fuck it was, and it came out, and I think one of the most interesting credits about the movie is that the judge outfits were designed by Gianni Versace. I don't know how much money that cost to get those costumes designed, but they look pretty good. And I love the movie. So haters be haters. Haters be damned. And I'm gonna talk about some haters here in a couple minutes. They're just disgusting people. I can't stand them. But I on an animated kick, I did watch Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1, which is based on, I think, a Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale Batman graphic novel. This one has bats battling a person who's killing off major mob families on various holidays, and him and Jim Gordon are flustered. He's raised a little bit away from the comic book because there's a son of a gangster in the film that there's a twist in there where they think he's the guy because he was always like this meek dude. In this family, not shit on him, but at the same time, like the father wanted more of him. But in the comic, the father didn't want that life for him. So there's not really many major differences. That's the only real one major difference. But Part 2 is out now. I know Brian got a screener, so I know Part 2 is coming very fast. And it's one of those things again where if you say, oh, those DC movies are so bad. Either you're watching the wrong ones. You should be watching the animated ones because they're knocking it out of the park.
Yes.
And man, this is like an hour and a half, and I think I want to say it was PG-13, but there wasn't many R-rated ones. But it's damn enjoyable, and story really flows. They ditched that Asian animation that I'm not a huge fan of. To go back to traditional, Gothic bats, and I love because they were doing that for a while. They went like the Asian style of animation, which it's fine. I just don't need it in my life when I'm watching a Batman movie, though. It's
yeah, because it's Batman. I mean, you don't want, Asian animation belongs in stuff like, Dragon Ball Z and things like that.
Oh, it's not to that extreme. You could tell.
Oh, okay.
It had like the Asian influence in it. As far as like you know who animated it, basically, and it doesn't stray from the stories. But last thing I watched is I started Masters of the Universe Revelations on Netflix. This is a Kevin Smith created, not created, but he created the series as far as this incarnation of the series. It's got a lot of big name talent doing the voices. Mark Hamill does the voice of Skeletor, and
nice.
Again takes another iconic character. You go back to Batman. He is my favorite Joker of all time because he does them all. As far as like the incarnations of the Joker, he can go from the cheery Joker that we all know and love to like the violent, visceral Joker in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful. But this show, it takes place like a little time after the regular series, I would say, because now Man-at-Arms is retiring and Tila is becoming like the new Man-at-Arms, but Lady-at-Arms. She's like the new like Eternian general of all the armies. And there's a coup in there to where Grayskull is invaded by Skeletor and Evil Lyn and the bunch, and it's becoming attacked. And basically, the sorceress sets herself up to defend the castle all on her own because she's stuck by, and releases like big things. And if you're listening to the show, this is going to contain some spoilers, but He-Man is forced to sacrifice himself to save all of eternity. So in turn, he kills himself and he kills Skeletor at the same time in the very first episode of the series. But the show is not called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's called Masters of the Universe. And he's not going to be gone long. But these fucking butt-hurt fucking nerds out there, you know who you are. You're probably listening to this show, but you know those fucking people are talking about how woke the show is because now Tila is forced to be like the big protagonist of the show. She's going to take the helm and be the hero, and people are so insulted by this. It's offensive to me that they're so insulted by this. That how dare they put a woman in this, and how dare they, bump He-Man off? And if you listen to interviews with Kevin Smith, he says, "You really think that Netflix would hire me to do a show and not and kill off He-Man and not bring him back? Because obviously they're gonna bring him back somehow. Just not right now." So nerds, if you're listening right now, that special kind of nerd, I love nerds, but that special kind of nerd that I hate oh so much. Those people that come in their pants over the Halloween franchise, stuff like that, and how great it is. Those kind of nerds that just point at every little fucking thing they don't like about, ooh, look, I saw this little thing in the trailer. Like that trailer where they say, oh, look, there's that little reference to Halloween 3. Fucking Blumhouse, you fucking hackney ass motherfuckers. If you're gonna dismiss sequels and you're gonna put this shit in the trailer anyway, what the fuck is the point? You're gonna get nerds. You're gonna get nerds excited for nothing, for absolutely nothing. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you like the Halloween series, and this would be controversial to people. Halloween 3 is the most original one out of all the Halloween films. If you watch Black Christmas, you've watched Halloween in a lot of ways.
Yes.
It paved a lot of roads, and I don't even like Black Christmas. I'm not a fan of it. It's too soap opera for me, and I've said this on a podcast before, maybe like 17 podcasts. So I don't even know how I don't like Black Christmas, but I recognize the skills and what it's done for the slasher genre as a whole.
Yeah, it was.
I give credit to Bob Clark for that all day long. The impact that movie has had.
Yeah, it's big.
I don't know how many slasher. But I'm not a fan of that. But I'm not a fan of these fucking nerds just spouting off at the mouth about, oh, a lady's in charge. Let's bitch and complain. You don't sound like you know something. You sound like an asshole, okay? You sound like a big fucking asshole, and I hope you don't have young daughters because that's not very much of a role model for you to your kids by saying, you know what, a woman can't do this because she's a lady.
Yeah.
And Tila is voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, by the way, which I got my autograph in the mail, and I'm very excited how it looks, you know. And yeah, that's my He-Man rant for you nerds out there that don't like the new series, because I think it's excellent. And that little thing that's really sticking in your craw, you sound like an asshole when you talk about it. That's all I'm saying. So calm the fuck down.
You know, Victor started watching that, and he really likes it. And he has seen the original. He's seen the original He-Mans and the original She-Ras and all that, and he's enjoying the fuck out of it, man.
See, people don't realize it unless you like do the research. Like that Power of Grayskull documentary Netflix put out. It was a great source because they talk about how the reason why He-Man and She-Ra were so sacrificed. Because She-Ra never actually swung a sword, and there was the whole series because parents groups were all over He-Man and She-Ra. That they didn't want He-Man to hit people. They didn't want She-Ra to do nothing but like spin in the air and look pretty, you know. Because God forbid somebody warped their child's mind, you know, with cartoon violence.
Oh God! But you know, let them play GTA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't care then, man. They see that one thing though. This was the '80s, obviously, and they were all over this shit. But
oh my God, the Satanic Panic and everything was going on at the time.
Have you watched the 2002 Cartoon Network series?
Yes, I have sat down and watched it with him, and that was pretty good too.
They flesh out those characters really well in that series.
They do. I really liked it. I mean, it gave me a better perspective of what I used to watch as a kid. Well, not so much as a kid, but you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're old, Iris. You're saying you're old, okay? Let's not forget this. Okay? I will never refer to you as old, okay? You know.
No.
Yeah. I love this lady. She knows this.
Yes, I do.
But yeah. We're here tonight. Like I said, we're doing Look Infected July, but this may come out in August. But whatever we're gonna do it anyway, people. I've had a hard week with car repairs and bullshit, and it's still not done yet. By the way, the car repair.
You're kidding.
That's my El Guapo, a power steering pump. Motherfucker. But we're gonna do two films tonight that aren't traditional zombie films, but they're still infected zombies. Still infected. We're doing Umberto Lenzi's Nightmare City. I forget the director of the other one, but it's a Warning Sign from '84, right around there. I think it's '84. Yeah, '84. Both are awesome in their own special ways. One's a little more silly than the other one. One's crazy hyper violent. But what order? Nightmare City first. I think so.
Yeah, it's 1980.
Yeah, that's the year of my birth, baby. And we're gonna,
God.
Yeah. I was born in the year of the Flash, Iris. I can't help these things, you know.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that right after the trailer.
Top of the news this evening is speculation concerning the real facts behind the Department of Health announcement about a radioactive spill supposed to have occurred yesterday at the state nuclear plant. Information from an official source, which reached our newsroom this afternoon, stresses the seriousness of the situation.
Mr. Miller, something very serious has happened at the airport. But until we conclude our investigation and take the necessary countermeasures, nothing is going to leak out. Nothing.
This individual and others like him have been subjected to strong doses of atomic radiation, which increase their physical capacities beyond the norm. In short, it's a kind of a Superman. This is Channel 5 TV station. We're being attacked. For God's sakes, send somebody fast.
God help us all.
Nightmare City from 1980, directed by Umberto Lenzi, I mentioned, has multiple writers that have names I cannot pronounce. So I'm not going to try. Stars genre favorite Hugo Stiglitz, who's up in this thing. Your cheap plot synopsis, it's actually really long, actually. An airplane exposed to radiation lands, and blood-drinking zombies emerge armed with knives, guns, and teeth. They go on a rampage, slicing and dicing and biting their way across the Italian countryside. Oh my gosh. This movie's a lot of fun. I don't know if they're drinking the blood. I think they're more like infecting the others to make them more like, make their legion all that much bigger. But I'll kick it down by my co-host, my lovely Iris, first, and say, hey, how about this Nightmare City film?
Oh, I love this movie. And, you know, I love the Italian name more than the English name, because the Italian name basically translates to nightmare in a contaminated city, which I think makes more sense than just Nightmare City. But
Yep.
yeah, this movie's fun. I mean, it's an Italian-Spanish zombie movie, so you know you're gonna get, you know, that whacked out makeup. You're gonna get gross. You're gonna get blood. You're gonna get violence. And this movie delivered in every single one. And you get titties too, because, you know, the Spaniards and the Italians like to see titty. So hold on. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. So yeah, the movie it's a lots of fun. So, and it's basically, to me, it was Romero's The Crazies from 1973, kind of. The gist of the whole thing is, right, you know, this guy is interviewing this professor that works with nukes and radiation, and the plane comes down, and the plane finally opens up, and it's mad zombies with weapons. Zombies with weapons, which I thought was great. And they start just killing, and you've got a couple of good kills. The very beginning, you know, some stabbing, throat slashing, great blood splash. And the movie continues, so on and so forth. And of course, you've got the military comes in. I thought that was a good element that they were using. You know, how, like, again, kind of like with every other zombie movie that we've seen, you know, don't discuss this, and, you know, we're going to try to fix this and hide it as best as we can, which of course never worked. So I thought that element was lots of fun also. There's the element of the hero and heroine who are trying to escape, and I don't want to spoil the movie, but I really, really love the ending of this whole thing. And I mean, to some people, the movie might be all over the place, because we do jump from characters, from different character storylines. You do jump around a little bit, but I think it keeps the pace going very well. It doesn't slow down the pace, and there's a lot of surprises. I mean, there were things in here that, you know, kind of like from the children almost, also just some of the things that were happening. And I don't know, I just really, really enjoyed it. I didn't get bored with it at all, because, you know, sometimes you watched one zombie movie, you've seen them all, right? But this one did keep my attention. And, you know, all of the actors and actresses, I mean, especially the actresses, goddamn, you know, very easy on the eyes. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And you know what? This was a first-time watch for me. So thank you for bringing this to the table.
Yeah, I've seen it in bits and pieces before. I never actually could tell you what the plot is. I'm a little more well versed on it. But I love this film because it's not really a zombie film. These people have been irradiated with something that make them turn into
they turn into kind of like vampires. Oh, that was, I'm sorry, you know, I don't mean to interrupt, but that was one thing that I forgot to say was, so basically the infection is the radiation. The radiation affects the red blood cells. So for them to quit decomposing, they have to basically ingest blood. So they have, so they can replace the the broken down red blood cells because of the radiation. And again, like with other zombie movies, you have to shoot them in the head because you have to stop the cerebral processor, which of course is the brain.
Yeah, in this one, they're like indestructible almost until you like really
They
blow their
are.
head, until you really blow their heads off, and then they're not moving around at all.
There's some really good kills in here, though. Yeah, like the girl that gets the knife into the tit. I mean, just like straight in. Oh, it was like, oh god, that hurt.
Cuts the nipple off, man. You know,
Yeah, he does. Oh.
Jesus Christ! Like he's gonna make a dish out of that nipple or something.
Oh yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. No, I like this movie because it's not like a regular like zombie movie. These are regular people. Like something happened on the plane or before takeoff. You don't know what happened to them. All you know is that they're radiated by something, and that they're sort of feeding off of these people in a way, but they're not really feeding off of them. They're drinking some of their blood, but when they go, to contact, they become the infected as well. And that makes their horde all that much bigger. And these people are not slow because they're still very human. They're not dead. They're still very human, so they can run. They know how to use tools. They know how to turn off the electricity. They know all this shit. They drive cars too. So this is the thing of this movie, that they're still very much alive. They're just not really have control of their bodies because they got some kind of rage thing from the radiation going on. Much like in our next movie. But there's a virus involved in the next movie. The scene where they're, and Lee Russell uses this music for the workout girls. He uses it on his show, and that scene where they just bust the studio. And this is a lot of what this movie is. It's just a lot of these things. Just their horrors getting real big. They bust into something. Just murder a lot of people. So if you like some visceral violence, like people's getting their throats cut, and we mentioned the nipple being cut off. Of course, you had this Italian on. I posted on Facebook. When you're waiting for the eye trauma to happen, it happens. It all comes together because there's some good eye trauma in this movie too.
Yes. And
this the whole time you're with the good old Hugo here, and he's shooting people. It's not doing any good because these are like meth addicts. They're just unstoppable creatures who have the thirst for blood, but not really. To whereas, in the zombie films, they brains, according to the woman and to take the pain away. They actually say that in the movie. Mm-hmm. But they're just getting those red blood cells up again, and in turn infecting others and making the little problem just these people on the plane, which you want a star for your film, but it didn't start that way. But once that door opens, the mayhem starts and it don't stop.
It does not. It
don't stop. And it's amazing. I loved it so much. You mentioned the end. All I'm going to say about the ending is that they Final Destination this shit. They don't tell you what happens, but you have to assume what happens next is what happens of what you've just been watching. And it's got one of those endings that you might hate because it's really open-ended. But you know what? There goes that butthurt conversation again. This is Italians. They have so many. There's much more endings to Italian movies that are much more dumb than this.
Oh yes.
Watch Bay of Blood is considered a classic, but the ending really takes me out of it because it's so stupid.
Rabid dogs.
Rabid dogs, man. But these things, I love the idea of the unstoppable, thing, and the fact that there is a horde of these things that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're going to take over the world eventually.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep on growing and growing and growing because you can't stop them unless you nuke them, and then you probably make them more powerful. Yeah. I can't say a whole lot more about it. It's just one of those films you got to watch. And I want to say it's on Shudder, maybe. Yeah.
It's actually it's on Prime for $1.49 to own, and I am glad I own it now. So
that's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah, it's totally. I hate to insult it. It's totally worth $1.50. But yeah, it's totally worth $1.50 and more.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Anything else you want to say about the movie, and what would you give it for?
Again, it's fast paced. It doesn't bore you. And it, you can't keep up with it, even though you're switching from storyline to storyline, but the storylines are so distinct that you don't feel like you're lost within all the jumping around. Again, good gore, good eye drama, plenty of blood. You get boob. I mean, it's everything that an Italian movie should be. So I'm going to give this a 9 because I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm right there with you. Like I said, the story's not perfect at all, but actually, it kind of is. I don't like a lot of stuff laid out for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just giving it to you. It's like boom, 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 boom. This is happening. Here you are.
It's like, do I need 5 minutes? Exposition speech from a doctor of how they got irradiated and why they are the way. No, you get none of that in this film, and I appreciate it for it. I get none of that in this film because these are just insane people who've been irradiated, who want blood, and are causing carnage all throughout the 80 minutes of this movie. There's freaking carnage all over the screen.
Yep.
So if you like that sort of thing, and I hope you do, recognize fiction from reality, and that's just let me say that statement right now. You're gonna love Nightmare City, and it gets a 9 out of 10 for me as well, and it's highly recommended if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and don't expect a lot of science. It's a zombie movie. Just go with it.
Just go with it, man. Come on, man. That was a quickie review, really. But you know what? There's a lot to spoil there. I really didn't want to do that for you guys.
There is.
Oh my gosh, it's a must watch. But I think the next movie is just as good. And we're gonna do Warning Sign from 1984. Right.
I've got a warning sign.
This is not a drill. Seal the building. No one in or out.
God Almighty. How many dead?
You didn't see a thing, you understand? Who are you trying to protect? Pray for the people trapped inside. Pray they never get out. Warning sign. Sam Waterston, Kathleen Quinlan.
Warning Sign from 1985. I'm sorry, it says it on a different one on here. Stars a lot of great folks I'll get into in a second, but your plot synopsis is this. A woman working as a security guard in an agricultural research facility finds herself and her co-worker, Schmidt, fighting to survive against their former friends. Infection. This is directed by a guy named Hal Barwood, who wrote a lot of stuff. He wrote Dragon Slayer, The Sugarland Express.
Really?
Yeah, some good stuff there. Yeah, worked for Spielberg quite a bit, so that's I guess where the Sugarland Express thing came from, because he was an actor in Close Encounters and some other thing. But this big ass cast he's tasked with is pretty impressive. Sam Waterston as Sheriff Cal Morse, Kathleen Quinlan as our security lady Joni Morse, who's his squeeze, of course. Yaphet Kotto, yeah, buddy, Major Connolly, Jeffrey DeMunn. One of my I love him in many things, but this is one of my favorite roles of his. If you don't know who he is, he was I forget who he was on the first season of Walking Dead, but he's in a lot of Darabont movies, The Green Mile and Shawshank, and look up, you'll recognize his face if you don't know the name. Richard Dysart, we know from The Thing and some other things. Dr. G.W. Bailey, not an asshole in this movie, so good on you,
right?
GW.
I know.
As Tom Schmidt, who's he plays Captain Harris in the Police Academy films, and Dickhead in Short Circuit, and Dickhead in this, and Dickhead in that, but he's not a dickhead in this movie. Not even when he's infected, okay? So you got to give him some love there. Rick Rossovich, you know that name. He shows up in Top Gun and The Terminator and many things as Bob. Yeah, there's some good shit in here, man. But yeah, I love this film. I first saw it when we watched it with the NFW crew, and I haven't watched it since, like without us talking over it. But I think it's a really good time. Iris, what are your thoughts on Warning Sign?
Warning Sign was fun, and it was again another movie that I really I was surprised of how well the science was thought out in this one. As much as there was no science in the other one, there is plenty of science here, and it's not ridiculous science. It's actual viable science of what would happen and how things are treated and how things are done. I absolutely love how they introduced the bacteria into the lab. It was extremely, for me, I thought it was extremely creative because, I mean, it was very plausible. Somebody could do that. And then, of course, you have, to me, it was kind of like a really watered down zombie like Andromeda strain, because you have the lockdown, you have the one person who can let everybody out, but we're not going to do that. You have the science behind it, and then you have these people who are walking around with these rages, which was extremely awesome. And the death, and I'm doing my little quote fingers. I think it's not a death, but I think it's more of an incubation of the virus, because when they wake up, they are extremely rage-filled and violent. So, and not to give away too much of the ending of this movie, so it's kind of like a roid rage. It's like, I think, it's kind of like, if somebody is, pumping steroids, their testosterone, of course, skyrockets, and, there's what you call the roid rage. So when the solution to how to fix these people, how to, the vaccine, when they presented that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I like that. So yeah, I think the plot of the movie was very well thought out. I like the way it was filmed. There wasn't a lot of gore, I would say. Not for me, for one of these movies. I was expecting a lot more nastiness. Not. I mean, there is some blood, but not a lot. I was expecting more. I was a little disappointed with that. But you've got these great actors that are showing up, so it's not like it was just like a one-off, or this is for a paycheck. There was some good acting in this too, and oh shit, I mean, who doesn't want to stare at Kathleen Quinlan, right?
She's very cute back in these days.
Oh my God, have you seen her lately? She is still good looking. Oh. Anyway,
look at that. I haven't looked in a long time.
go see. And she gets plenty of screen time too. So it's the underdogs taking on the military, and I like the ending. Because it was like, well, the military basically came in and were like, well, I guess we're done with that. Okay, see you later, ciao. I mean, it was like, okay, because that's exactly what they would have done. But yeah, I did enjoy this one a lot. I think I enjoyed it just as much as the other one, but for very different reasons. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get it.
That's pretty much for me.
Yeah, for me, I mean, this is Cold War stuff here. This is made in '85, right around the same time that'd be going on. And the whole plot of the movie is this agricultural place that builds stuff to make crops grow and stuff like that, and different enzymes and whatnot. But, in their midst is this government weapon that's going to be used against people to their enemies, to drop down and basically make them turn against each other and kill each other off without sending, the military. And this gets loose, and I'll tell you, I mentioned this in my post on Facebook, that Resident Evil owes a lot to a movie like this, because it's pretty much set up the same way as the T virus is. This was a virus that they replicated, that gets loose. They're not really zombies though, which is a fun part about this movie, because they're still about halfway, have control of their minds. There's the rage part, but they're still very aware of what they're doing, as far as like going to turn off the power and to go, they're looking for a way out, not to go, harm each other, because they're all going stir crazy at the same time. Because once this gets loose, our guard, Kathleen Quinlan, she gets the message, and she's only following protocol. what happens when a biohazard thing leaks. She's only following protocol, and of course, G.W. Bailey, the ones that aren't in the lab where it wasn't released, they're ready to get out, but they have a really clever thing of why those folks got infected. I don't want to give that away. There's a lot of plot here, and I appreciate them giving us exposition without giving us exposition.
Yeah,
kind of get what's going on,
Yeah, it was very nice because it's kind of like I love plots where the writer doesn't like spoon feeds me the plot because I'm intelligent enough to get it. So and I think it helps the plot a lot too because you're not sitting through exposition or sitting through all these explanations where you're like, all right, I get it. You're boring me. Can we get on to the next scene?
And I love Jeffrey DeMunn's character. I mean, he lives off he used to work for the company, but he knows better now. He lives off the grid, eating his zucchini pancakes, which I'd imagine.
Zucchini pancakes.
Yeah, making the best breakfast he ever had. But he's like, I wouldn't call him a kook. It would have been real easy to script this to him playing like a crazy person. But he's just a guy who worked for this company that knows things that nobody else knows. Like this virus is a thing, and then what it was built for. And he didn't build the virus, but he built the antivirus.
Yeah.
And he, of course, is enlisted by Sam Waterston because his wife is in there, and that's the reason why he come along. And it's just really interesting, how they get in there and they figure it out. For some reason, Kathleen Quinlan is immune to this, and they figure out, why she's immune to this. And again, this may be a film a lot of folks haven't seen, so we don't want to give away too many spoilers. It has a happier ending, but with some tragedy in there too, because people do die in this movie. And I think it's highly entertaining and highly intelligent for a film about people with the rage virus. It's highly intelligent. It's highly intelligent watch and very well thought out and very well. And you get some scares in there, which you expect to be some scares in there. But people after all these years, I mean, I watched Outbreak. I watched this. Can we make a better suit, people? That won't tear in right away.
Right.
I mean, these suits are so flimsy for what you're supposed to have them for. And I've seen like this, and The Rock, where they have the same kind of deal where it's gonna burn through whatever it touches, and these suits are fucking flimsy. I think we need a better radiation suit. Is all I'm saying, people. Build a better radiation suit for today. But yeah. Yaphet Kotto, I forgot to mention him. He plays a great government stooge in this movie.
He does.
I mean, he plays it so cool without being douchey about it. And I mean, he knows what he knows, and he ain't gonna tell them motherfuckers shit unless he absolutely has to. Until hillbillies breaking your government trailer, just fuck you up with hammers, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie when he takes that shot to the gut with the hammer.
Oh, that was wicked. That was wicked.
In the end kind of wraps up, but here comes Yaphet Kotto just jumping out of the vent, staying cool all the way to the end.
Right, putting on the sunglasses and putting out the hand.
He's like, well, I guess it's all wrapped up here. We'll see you later. Yeah. Good job. And he just plays it so cool, although he's like the biggest villain. He is kind of the biggest villain in the whole movie. And you don't care because he's just so cool. He's just playing Yaphet Kotto as government stooge.
Yep.
It's so good. The whole movie's awesome. And if you haven't seen it, like I said, we didn't spoil too much about it, but you guys should all go check out Warning Sign. It could be I think Shout's got a Blu-ray out. I think so. That's a thing that exists.
And Prime has it for $3.29, and it's really worth the money to rent for $3.29.
Do it. Watch you some Warning Sign. It's good shit. But Iris, any final thoughts? And when they gave it 1 to 10.
Okay, so final thoughts. I forgot to say this one part. At the very end, Fairchild, which is Jeffrey DeMunn, he goes, "Trust me, I'm a scientist," right? And of course, that totally brings me back to back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Ghostbusters.
Right. So I immediately went and looked, and I was like, okay, when did this movie come out? When did that movie come out? was like, okay, well, they were both in production at the same time, so they couldn't have copied from each other. But I thought it was just funny how he said that, and it just took me exactly to, Ghostbusters.
On a side note, have you watched the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer, the brand new one?
Yes, I'm so excited. Cassandra and I are going to go watch that in the big screen.
I cried a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, I know, right? I know.
So good.
Go
for it. Yeah. Go for it, girl. I'm sorry.
Let me see. I'm going to give this one a 9 too, because like I said, I enjoyed this movie just as much, but for different reasons. No, I didn't have the gore. No, I didn't have the blood, but the plot, the writing in this, to me, was very well thought out. The science in this made sense. They didn't bludgeon you over the head with explanation. And again, it's, it was fast paced. It never got bogged down on anything. It just kept going and it moved on. It really didn't feel like you were sitting watching for an hour and a half.
No, it's paced very well. Both these films are paced very well. I gotta say that.
So yeah, 9.
I can't say that about too many Italian films like that are like Nightmare City that are paced very well. But Nightmare City is paced very well.
It is.
Oh my gosh, you weren't dealing with the makes a lot of schlock zombie films. I'll remember later. No, not Fulci. No. Much dumber than Fulci. It's that Lenzi. Whatever. I'm not worried about it anymore. This is a 9 as well for me. It captures a lot of issues of the time, like the Cold War stuff. But you know what it does? It doesn't date it either.
It doesn't.
Because it can really work for any conflict you could think of.
Right. And right now, the big thing is the GMO. And that's exactly what they were working on. They were working on GMO.
Oh my gosh. It's so good, though. I enjoyed the hell out of this, and I'm glad we got to talk about it, and I hope this turns people onto it. But both of these films, because neither one of them is a bad time. So, Yay!
And both of these were first-time watches for me. So, again, thank you for bringing these to my attention, because I probably would have never seen them.
Right, babe. I'm glad. I'm surprised you guys didn't do the other one on Mike's show. Your guys' show. I know.
I may just bring this one up because I really liked it.
It's a lot of fun. It's got everything that's in the title, I think. Blood baths, boobs, and a big body count. But they get back up again.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get it in time. Well, this is rough. You may have a house season segment after this break, but you may not. If not, we're gonna come back and close up the show either way. See you soon.
This'll keep you quiet. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You caught me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
Thank you, Iris, for joining me on this sweaty Thursday night to talk about these two great films.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. Bitch, you a co-host. You know this. Come on now, And y'all, y'all can't call Iris a bitch, man. She'll fuck you up. If the wrong person calls her bitch.
That's right.
I can't ever say that. We recorded the Warriors episode of Last Call of Torchies. He goes, thanks for having me. I was like, motherfucker, you're a co-host. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this was good, man. Iris, tell the folks what you guys coming up or came out or tell us about it, girl.
Well, I just we just recorded the Deadly Spawn on, I think it was, last Saturday.
Yes.
And that was fun.
Golden Girls worm attack for the win. Okay,
Yes, yes, I know. It was great. I love that. Was my favorite scene. Oh my God, that was such my favorite scene. But if you're looking for us, we're Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts. You can find us on exploitationfilm.com.
I met that director one time at a show, at a screening, and he was wearing an ascot, and he could pull it off very well. So
nice.
There's that. Not many folks, unless you're Fred from Scooby-Doo, can pull up an ascot that well. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this show, Last Call of Torchies, 2 drink minimum commentaries, can all be found on legionpodcast.com. Blood from the Core, which is a show I do with Derek Bourgeois, can be found on Legion Patreon, although we should, by the time you listen to this, or right on the same time, we should release a regular episode of the regular Legion feed, which is our Blood from the Core Bridge and Tunnel version, which we give you guys because I was so long getting the Q episode out because I lost the file. So you get a good Sweet Alice review out of that because that takes place in Jersey, and I'm looking forward to getting that out to you guys. Join the Legion Patreon. It's as low as $3 a month. You get that show. You get Court's early shows. You get Pick 6 movies early. You get commentaries that aren't heard on there, and I plan on plus you get the Last Call of Torchies. You get at least 2 bonus episodes coming. But one of them's there. The next one we're doing is for a film called The Wanderers, and so look for that Drive episode on Legion Patreon as well. We had a good time doing the bonus ones too. Some of the best times I've had as a podcaster is doing those Last Call of Torchies episodes. So I'm looking forward to you guys listening to them. And we do take submissions for reviews for that show. So the next one we're doing is The Long Riders. So if you're listening to this and you like The Long Riders, you want to record your thoughts, send it my way, and I will include it on the show. It's that simple, people. Yeah, it goes for anybody. And I'm looking forward to hearing you guys' thoughts on some stuff, because audience participation is few and far between sometimes. And when you guys do it, it feels so good. Let me tell you right now, it feels so good.
It does. It's kind of like you. It's kind of like getting love. It's kind of like getting a hug from our listeners.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it for this one. And next time on the show, I'm not sure which one we're doing next. Heather Powell may be coming on the show. I don't want to announce her without announcing her. But we're doing what did I call it? I have to go to my Facebook and see. And I'm gonna lay some stuff on Suzanne that she's gonna hate, and I'll tell you right now. But basically, I forget what it's called, but I'll tell you about it in the next episode. We're doing 2 films in which, new dude comes to town and wants to plow the local honey. And, we're doing that with the Elvis Presley film Roustabout, I think from 60, with Crybaby from 1991 as one of the shows. I've been aching to do Crybaby because it was my first John Waters. You never forget your first John Waters, people. And the second show that Suzanne is going to hate, she may hate the film. I know she'll hate one of these films. Is a show basically about skaters who try to get with some protagonist's sister, and him being a little bit too heavy on who's getting with his sister because they're a little too friendly with the sister. We'll talk about that. Oh. Yeah. It's not incest, but it might as well be. We're doing Airborne from 1990 with Thrashin' from 1986.
Nice.
Yeah, so Jaggers versus kids on rollerblades, and a young Jack Black shows up in Airborne, and a Joey Lawrence song that will stick in your head for eons and eons, and whatever. Suzanne is probably gonna hate this film, but it was a cable staple for me when I was like 12 years old, and I watched it constantly.
Oh my!
And I think we're gonna do a Patreon bonus for that month. I think we're start doing. I do like a little bonus review, and Suzanne's not here, so I'll tell you, Iris. I'm gonna make Suzanne watch. I'm gonna make Suzanne watch Cool as Ice, and she's gonna hate it, but I'm gonna love it.
She's gonna be cursing you.
It's a bad